All right. Let me begin with turning off the music. Ziggy might be a very mighty human being, but he won't eat any of you. Don't worry, guys. Also checking out.
No, I ate before I came, so I'm not hungry right now.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay. I'm just taking a look at the YouTube stream, making sure it's working. I think it's fine.
That's just what a cannibal would say.
Okay. Yeah, let me grab my notes real quick. Also, welcome everybody to another VR Mystery School live event. It's very nice to see you all. Yeah, let's see. So today we're here for the presentation Mysticism of the Body, Fitness as Theurgic Practice by Frater Zigmund over here. Thank you very much for coming, Frater Zigmund, and preparing the presentation. I know, quite some work went into it. It's really appreciated.
Oh, absolutely. It was a blast to put together.
In this talk, Frater Zigmund will talk about his experience, as self-initiate, and in particular, I suppose his growing relationship to physical fitness. And I always thought it's a very interesting angle when it comes to personal development, especially in the spiritual context. Personally, throughout most of my life, I was actually at conflict with my body, and it wasn't until I started digesting some proper philosophy that I realized it's actually okay, to appreciate your body, become friends with it, cultivate it, and so on. So yeah, I think it's a super interesting topic, and also one of my favorite eureka moments studying the philosophy is that pretty much every mystical system has some kind of like earth element or other teachings that relate to, your physical self and finding health and balance there. Super interesting. So yeah, thanks again, Ziggy, for coming here to present about this important topic. Now some administrative things. I'll try to rush through them. Please keep your mics fully muted, completely muted, with the mute button and all that, until we are either in the break or the Q&A sections. You can still react to the speaker with emojis, or, we're in VR, so if you're wearing a headset, anything, clapping mimicry works as well. Sometimes a little awkward for a speaker, not to hear much from the audience. So that's how we fix that. Volume settings. We should be using the voice amplification today, but if you still want to fine-tune the volume of Ziggy's voice, you can do it in the vrchat settings, or by clicking on him and changing his personal volume. Would also like to ask everybody to use small and optimized avatars so the people behind you enjoy their frame rate and are not blocked, by your big hair or big hat or something. Yeah, we're recording for YouTube, so when we do get to the Q&A or the comment section, keep that in mind. If there's anything you want to say or ask that you do not want to be broadcasted, you can save it for after the presentation. I'm pretty sure Ziggy will be open to that, otherwise through Discord. Nope, I think we're fine. So Ziggy, if there's nothing else that you would like to ask or point out, and you're ready, feel free to take it away. Introduce yourself and just get started with the presentation.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Frater Zigmund, or you can just call me Ziggy, Frater Ziggy, or Ziggy, whatever, Zig. Whatever you get creative, I don't really care. This is Mysticism of the Body, Fitness as Theurgical Practice. So so what is mysticism of the body? So it's a type of experiential spiritual practice that uses the body as a vehicle to engage with the divine, to learn truths about ourselves, the world around us, and our relationship with the greater whole of which we are only a part. So it is using the body as a way to come to understand the divine, God, the source, however you want to frame it. I use the term God a lot, but we'll get more into what that means. So it is a mysticism that embraces materiality as an aspect of the divine. It's not something to be escaped or shunned. It's a panentheistic or pantheistic view of the divine. And the goal of this mysticism is to find the divine in the world, among community. The gifts that you gain from pursuing fitness should be used to aid others who would benefit from it. If it is of the world, it should be returned to the world. So what this is not, I just need to be clear about this because I don't want to be confused. So this is not about how to use magic to get lean, swole, fit, thick, whatever the kids are saying these days. You don't need magic to do any of that stuff. You really, just get a trainer for that. That's not what this is here. I am not a fitness guru. This is not about toxic masculinity or alpha male culture, which pervades a lot of the fitness space. I tend to stay away from that kind of media online because a lot of times they are trying to sell you something else in addition to fitness. And for men, a lot of times it's this sort of like very toxic masculine kind of approach. And I'm just not about that. So this is also not health advice. I am not a licensed professional of any kind. I am currently getting a degree in physical education, but I have not completed my degree. So we'll give that caveat as I'm explaining this stuff. If you need health advice, please check with a licensed medical professional. Check with your doctor before starting any exercise program. Figure out what's good for you. I cannot do that for you. And I'm not going to. So this is also not a finished system. This is still the work in progress. This is my own personal notes here. I've kind of been feeling like I've been going to the Wizard Council to present my wizardry to you all. So it's still a work in progress. If I'm still working on it, and if anybody has any ideas or thoughts, I haven't really found anyone else working on something like this, but if there is, I would love to know. Also, this is not scholarly or historic. It's not academic. I do really love scholars and academics for the work that they do, and I've learned a lot from them. I spend a lot of time on religion on YouTube, Esoterica, Religion for Breakfast, Let's Talk Religion, Angela Symposium, all those channels. They're all fantastic, great places to learn about the academic study of esotericism and religion. But this is not that. This is my personal practice. This is very steeped in my own personal experience, my own verified personal gnosis. So take everything I say with that grain of salt. But I'd love to talk about it with you all anyway. So I may be completely wrong about all this stuff. That's perfectly fine. One of my favorite quotes from the Stobaean Hermetica, it's number 27. It's a single sentence from Isis to Horus. A refutation recognized, O greatest of kings, drives the one refuted to desire things formerly unknown. To be proven wrong is the first step towards greater understanding. So let us embrace being wrong because it helps us get closer to truth. All right, so let's keep going. So overview. I'm going to do a quick introduction of myself as a queer Hermetic theurgist. Then I'm going to talk about DIY religion. And then we're going to get into some theory about pantheism and panentheism, and also the macrocosm and microcosm. And then I'm going to talk about practice. We're going to talk about exercise as devotional and ritual practice and what that looks like. The 5 fitness components and how they relate to the elements. The 6 fitness skills and how they relate to the planets. And we're going to have a quick little conclusion to wrap everything up. If you want to follow me, I have a website at fraterzigmund.com and a YouTube channel at Frater Zigmund. I haven't really been updating for a while, but I'm hoping to change that this summer now that I have some time and some more focus on what it is I'm actually doing. The stuff that's there kind of reflects my older spiritual practice when I was a self-initiate into the Golden Dawn tradition. But I'll talk more about that, how that has changed as we keep going. All right, so me, Frater Zigmund. I'm a queer Hermetic mystic and theurgist. And I'm going to talk about each of those individual things in slides following. I started off as a self-initiate into the Hermetic tradition via the Golden Dawn. I basically started with the book Modern Magic by Donald Michael Craig. And I did lots of LBRPs, Lesser Banishing Rituals of the Pentagram, Middle Pillar Rituals, what is Banishing Ritual of the Hexagram, lots and lots of those every day for years. And it absolutely changed me as a person and really got me to where I am now. I've had many, many initiatory experiences along the way, and each time I become more and more who I'm always meant to be. As a result of this, I have discovered that I am dedicated to the god Mars. I now identify as a priest of Mars, and I venerate him as with athleticism, physical prowess, overcoming obstacles, growth through struggle, and strength in the face of adversity. This is part of my devotion to Mars. It involves fitness and taking care of my body and showing other people how to do the same and take care of themselves, and also being a positive masculine presence in the gym that I go to, just to support the community of people there and give people a good role model to look up to. Everybody at the gym really looks up to me. I've managed to lose a whole lot of weight, about 100 pounds over the past 5 years or so, but 70 pounds over the past year and a half. And I get people coming up to me regularly saying, "How did you lose all that weight?" And I'll be like, who are you? I don't even know who you are. Or like people who haven't seen me in a long time will suddenly be very astonished at like what I look like, over the course of a few months. So it's been quite a journey, and it's definitely related to my work with Mars. Yes, that work calls me to do things in the world to help tend to the world and help promote his strands in the world. I know he's known as a lesser malefic, and Mars energy is not always great, but there are ways to nurture it in positive ways and constructive ways, and that's sort of what I try to do as a religious calling, and I feel called to serve. And part of what I've been able to do is I've managed to be able to go back to school in my middle age. I'm 41, going to university. All of my classmates are 19, 20 years old, but I'm studying physical education, and I'm hoping to become a PE teacher within the next few years. And I absolutely love my degree. It's very, very funny because when I was a kid, I absolutely hated PE. It was my least favorite class. I was really good at everything else. But phys ed, I couldn't stand it, and I was just a fat kid, and I just everything else came so easily to me. I was not good at failing in phys ed, and I've come to learn as an adult that that's a very important part of what you learn in PE is learning how to fail and how to pick yourself up after that. As a young adult, getting into adulthood after school, I really struggled because I always did so well in school and it was really easy to me, and then suddenly I didn't know how to do things that were hard. And so I also have bipolar disorder, so that was also another challenge that I struggled with. My life really wasn't going anywhere. I didn't have any direction. I had a degree in fine arts that I was not using. And I kind of bumbled through life. I worked a bunch of different random jobs, and eventually I ended up on disability for the bipolar disorder. And I didn't know what to do, and that was 5 years ago. So I decided to take up self-initiation practices for like the 4th or 5th time in my life. I never really stuck. My expectations were incredibly low. I just wanted something to just be structured in my life because I didn't have any structure. I wasn't working. I was just at home. And slowly but surely it completely changed me, and a lot of the blockages and things that were keeping me from succeeding in life were cleared out. As a combination of the self-initiation practices and therapy, the two things together really, really propelled me, and I wouldn't have succeeded as much as I had without the two of them. And so I recommend to anybody who takes up self-initiation to do therapy as well, because it will let you succeed in ways that you will not be able to on your own. So that's me in a nutshell. All right, so queer mysticism. I said I was a queer Hermetic mystic. So queer mysticism. I identify as a gay man, and for much of my life, I identified as a gender-neutral person as well, and used they/them pronouns. But in recent years, part of the result of my self-initiation practices, I've come to understand my masculine side much more readily, much more constructively, and now identify as a cis man. And so I feel like queerness is a really important part of how I relate to the world and to the divine. And so queer mysticism involves the mysteries of the experiences of gender and sexuality. And for those of us who stand outside of the standards of what is expected, we experience reality differently. And we have different insights. And that's just sort of how life is in general. But for queer people, it's sort of a shared current of energy, of magic. I don't know really what to call it, but it's something that we have access to. And in a lot of cultures, queer people are often othered, and they do become some kind of magical people. They're valued for their spiritual power. And like this is most readily seen in Canada. The indigenous people have the Two-Spirit movement, where they're embracing this magical side of their queerness as a part of their culture. And it's something that we don't really have in Western culture, but it's something that I feel very closely tied to as a mystic who is also queer. But I feel that queer mysticism is really inherently tied into the body as vehicles for all these experiences and as a medium for their expression. Our queerness, it moves through our bodies, expresses through our bodies. It's part of who we are and who we have to be authentically. And so we often have to fight for body acceptance in various ways, because we usually don't fit into the mold very easily. And a lot of our media certainly focuses on certain body types over others. And I really want to stress that fitness is for every body at whatever capacity it can accomplish. Just because you can, only have the time or the energy to take a 15-minute walk, that's fine. That's better than nothing. You don't have to compare yourself to some guy who goes to the gym 4 hours every day and looks like a fitness model. That's not. Fitness is for everyone, for everybody. And obviously not everyone can do the same thing. And some people don't have that capacity, and we should definitely not take it for granted while we do, because it's very important. And but the thing about it is, the more we use it, the longer we get to have it. So take care of it, nurture it. That's what fitness is about. The last point I want to make about queer mysticism is that it is an understanding of the divine as all gendered and genderless. I consider it the pervasive they that permeates all things. Some people sometimes use this phrase, the man upstairs, and I'm like, I don't think of God as the man upstairs. It's the pervasive they. So that's just my own personal take on how I view the divine. So then Hermetic mysticism. Here's a quote from Dr. Walter Hanegraaff from Hermetic Spirituality and the Historical Imagination. The Hermetica are full of statements to the effect that true knowledge of ultimate realities that cannot be thought is not just possible, but essential to human salvation and true felicity. The pursuit of such knowledge is at the very heart of the ancient experiential practices that modern scholars refer to the way of Hermes. So Hermetic spirituality is about having experiences that give you greater understanding of the divine, of the reality, of greater truths. And we use the nous, and just sort of like this faculty for greater understanding, which is a reflection of the greater nous that is part of the divine construct. I can't really explain it. It's very complicated, but it's a reflection of the world in us, and it's how we gain knowledge. And it's the phrase that uses is noeticize. It's sort of to gain experiential knowledge in a way that transcends words. That is sort of the pure experience, and that's what Hermetic mysticism is about. So we engage in theurgy. It's a spiritual mode where you engage in complex ritual practices as a way to purify and prepare yourself to gain knowledge or gnosis of greater truths. It's called, theurgy translates to God working. It involves prayer, ritual performances, maintaining piety, invocation of energies. So this is the mode that I engage in. So basically, every morning and every evening, I have sort of ritual practice. I have a little area in my basement where I have set up candles in a circle, and I set up a chair in the middle, and I do meditations, I do rituals, I said prayers, and I observe certain acts of piety, certain movements of the sun through the sky, the cycle of the planetary rulers as we move through the week. Mars in particular is my patron, so Tuesdays are very important to me because that's the day that Mars rules. So this devotional practice moves through all aspects of my life. It's interesting because my experience to the divine is not something I do when I go into the temple. It's something that I experience all the time. I feel like my life is an extended conversation with God at all times, even now, in this moment. But as we're talking, as we are extending across the boundaries of ourselves, we are accessing something greater. But anyway, the practice of theurgy. As you engage in these practices, you raise awareness. It's gradual. It's unfolding. And as I mentioned before, I have initiatory experiences where I am tested in some way. Something presents itself to me in life, and I have to respond to it. And it's usually something that puts me outside of my comfort zone, or is a culmination of various things that I've been working on. And afterwards, it's you get a very sense of confirmation that yes, you are doing it. It is happening. And the magical current that I've managed to contact through my initiatory practices flows very strongly through me at that point. There's a physical aspect to some of this work that's not necessarily, I guess, physiological, I guess you could say. But anyway. And then so the last thing is DIY religion. This is sort of another mode that I engage in. Organized religion might be great and all, but have you tried being your own priest yet? I am really inspired by paganism and sort of do-it-yourselfness about when it comes to religion. People have been very innovative about religion since prehistory, so I don't see any reason why we can't be as well. So what it means to be religious is incredibly diverse, multifaceted, and ultimately very personal. In the United States, where I'm from, there's sort of this idea that religious means a certain kind of Christian that is very, very, very judgmental or very loud about their religion, and that does not represent what I mean when I say I'm religious in the least, or other people that I know that are religious who are not that kind of Christian or even Christian at all. And it's kind of a failure of religious literacy to not understand that religiosity takes a whole lot of different forms, and can look very different for very different people from very different cultures. So you're allowed to define religion how you want. People say, "Oh, I'm spiritual but not religious," and then they do a bunch of things that are pretty religious looking, but they don't want to call it religious because they don't want to be associated with what they think religious actually means. But it's really, we have the opportunity to take the word back and to reclaim it, because what I do is very religious. It just doesn't look like what your typical Sunday going church Christian does. Nobody can mediate your relationship with the divine better than you yourself. That's what I fully believe. That's the fundamental point of DIY religion. So the forms of religion are there for you to adapt to your time and culture, to help you move towards a better relationship with the divine, as humans have done since prehistory. What I'm doing here is an extension of that, taking what I've learned about and adapting it to myself, my own practice, and coming up with something new. And I hope you all appreciate that. All right. Should we take any questions, or should I keep going?
Yeah, actually, I realized just earlier I forgot one thing, and it is the schedule for today. So I forgot to mention, Ziggy, if you'd like to call a break at any time, feel free to do it. Also, that after the event there will be a hangout for anybody that would like to do a bit of informal chatting and stuff. Yeah, pretty relevant. I forgot to mention those. I'm sorry. Also, if you would like to do a Q&A section now, Ziggy, I think that's fine. Yeah. If there are any questions, please come to this side of the room. If nobody shows up here, then I suppose there's no questions. Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. So no questions for now. Oh, actually, let me check the YouTube stream. No questions there either. Do you have any questions for the audience?
No, I'll just keep going.
Yeah, if you don't want to take a break, let's keep going. Sure.
Let's keep going. All right, so we're going to talk about some theory now. So pantheism, panentheism. Here's some quotes from the definition of Hermes Trismegistus to Asclepius, translated by Jean-Pierre Mahe. These are sometimes called the Armenian definitions because they were preserved in the Armenian tradition. But nothing is uninhabited by God. For where heaven is, God is too. And where the world is, heaven is too. I think that God is in heaven, and heaven in the world. And then also, God is the good which is previous to all the intelligible beings. God is the father of the intelligible. Heaven is the maker of the body. So, looking at this, I take from it that the divine is present in the world, in all things, and that does include us. So, in order to understand the divine, we can use our own selves to do this. So pantheism is the doctrine that identifies the universe with God or the manifestation of God. And then panentheism is a doctrine that God includes the universe and extends beyond it. I tend to focus more on panentheism just because I really like Platonism, and Platonism really focuses on an eternal realm. I personally feel that there is an interesting relationship between the eternal realm and the material world, and something about the how do I put this, the temporality of materialism, how things change and don't last, is something reflected about the eternal realm. But that's probably beyond this conversation over here. The short of it is that I feel that God permeates the world with their presence, and by coming to understand the manifest world, we come to know God. At least part of it. God is so far beyond what we can understand in totality, but we can see little slices, little parts, little pieces. Our entire perspective is from one little slice of reality, and we just move through it. And we come to know the world and come to know God through that little slice. And part of the work of mysticism is altered states of consciousness, changing your perspective, and it is an essential work for coming to understand how God exists. Because from one perspective, you only have you are limited, and then from 2 you're a little less limited, from 3 even more. So I throw myself fully into the world to try to understand as much of it as I can. And then this is one of the chapters from the Book of the Living by Octavia Butler. The Book of the Living is the holy text of the religion of Earthseed, which started off as a fictional religion in her novel Parable of the Sower and Parable of the Talents. The main character writes this text called the Book of the Living, which is she starts a religion called Earthseed based off of it. But people have started practicing this on their own in the real world. So I guess it is a real religion now. And if you go to godischanged.org/the Book of the Living, you can read the whole thing. It's pretty short. The chapters are pretty short, and they represent a very pantheistic view of God. And I recommend it to my students if they are trying to develop that understanding of God as the world. The primary precept of the Book of the Living is that God is change. And as I come to see it, is God is not the creator, but the process of creation. And I think this chapter 34, really explains it very well. Create no images of God, except the images that God has provided. They are everywhere in everything. God is change. Seed to tree, tree to forest, rain to river, river to sea, grubs to bees, bees to swarm. From one, many, from many, one, forever uniting, growing, dissolving, forever changing. The universe is God's self-portrait. So then from there on, we can talk about macrocosm and microcosm. So this is a Hermetic doctrine that helps to understand the cosmos while coming to understand ourselves and vice versa. The inner and the outer reflect each other and reveal themselves in the other. So this is something you'll find in a lot of Hermetic texts. And it's a pretty common concept. The as above, so below, that is so famous about Hermeticism. So this practice really reflects that we are a reflection of the solar system with the planets inside us. And there's this idea that the energy of the planets animate the material of the four elements. And so these energies can be accessed through certain patterns in the material world to gain a greater knowledge of those planetary energies. Gaining greater understanding of how the planets and elements move in the world around us teaches us how to move more easily through the world ourselves. This understanding is gained through direct experience. You have to do the work to get the knowledge, to gain the experience. No one can hand it to you. I can show you how to do it, but you have to do it yourself. And that's a very important part of this kind of work, is that it requires personal commitment to it, and no one can do it for you. You can't read a book to tell you how to make it happen. But we can use elements of fitness to access these energies of the elements and the planets. So let's get into practice now. Oh, actually, we'll take another break here. Let's go back. Any more questions before we get into practice?
Any questions? Feel free to come over here. I have a couple, but those are fine for at the end. It's not necessarily super relevant to this right now. Yeah, it doesn't look like there are any. Just had a question. Somebody asked what grubs are, so in case anybody doesn't know, they are like the larvae of the bees, I suppose.
Yes. Cool. Is there a hand raised over there, I see?
Oh, I think. Feel free to come over and ask the question. That way, everybody can. Oh, it was just
Oh, the mic is bad.
It's no worry. I can read your question out loud. That's fine. Yeah, sure. I suppose so. I mean, Frater Zigmund's name is on there, Don't crop that out.
Yeah, as long as you don't crop out my name, it's all good.
Also, there is a stream up on YouTube, so if you want to, see the slides again, you can go through that later on. It's on VR Mystery School
All right.
Let's continue. Yeah.
I keep accidentally hitting my WASD button here. I'm sorry. All right. Exercise as devotional practice. So, I use exercise as devotional practice. People are like, "Oh man, you go to the gym religiously," and I'm like, "You have no idea." It's a really important part of my devotion to Mars, engaging in athletic activity. It is how I access that energy of that planet, that deity, and by engaging in it, I show my devotion to him, and it's really changed me, and it's really helped me become the person I was always meant to be. I've learned so much about myself by going to the gym regularly, and I take up running, and I used to weigh 320 pounds at one point, and I'm around 220 right now. But I have discovered that I'm in excellent condition for a man of my age. I'm 41, and this is kind of amazing from somebody who, you know, basically had completely given up on themselves and just sat on the couch all day and never really thought anything of themselves. But now, yeah, exercise is devotional practice. It's less about trying to lose weight or less about trying to fit some kind of mold and more about just trying to engage with the activity itself for what it is. And so, maintaining or developing fitness is a way to be more present in the world and engage with the divine manifestation in matter. So, as I said, being present in the world, like I go places to exercise. I go to the gym, or I go to the park to run, and I'll be talking more about places that you go to, but you have to be embodied to engage with this stuff. You have to be present in matter. It's not so much about, there are aspects of mind involved, but it is more complete with everything going on in your body, because you need your mind to direct your body. So it engages all of these things together, and these are all parts of God. As I said, way to show dedication to a patron deity, that is living the ideals of your patron. That's what I said about being a dedicant of Mars. And I think it's really important to talk about what we do with our mysticism, with our spiritual development, because I feel like we can do a lot of navel gazing. We can do all the navel gazing in the world, and I love navel gazing. Don't get me wrong; it is fantastic. But if we don't do anything with it, what is the point? I feel that if you have managed to somehow be bestowed with the light somehow, it's up to you to shine that out in the world, to spread it out forward. And I feel with fitness, it's very much the same way. None of us exist in isolation. And if we develop our bodies and we develop our fitness, we have more capacity to help others who are not as developed or who might not have that same capacity. And so I think that's really important. Because we all need each other to get through this world, to survive. Nobody exists in isolation. This is sort of why I'm really against this like alpha male culture that's all about like being the top dog and being better than everybody. And I'm just like, no, that's really counterproductive and doesn't help anyone. So I really want to emphasize that I really think fitness should be used to better as many people as you can, and not just yourself. So exercise is ritual. I use exercise with a structured sequential approach. So my typical gym days is I go to my temple, which is the gym. I don my ritual garb in the locker room. I do some flexibility exercises, and then I either do a cardiovascular exercise or some muscular training exercises. I then take my libation, which is a protein shake, do a ritual shower, and then I go back, put on my clothes, return to the world outside of the temple. And this is sort of like a little chunk of time. I know I have a lot of time, but as I mentioned before, I'm on disability. I'm not working. I can set my own schedule, so I'm using my time as best I can at the moment. I know at some point I will not be able to keep this up once I become a teacher and I'm working full time, but we're going with what we can right now. But this is just an example. Anybody can, you'd have to adapt it to what works for you. But the exercises ritual helps you to adopt a mindset of fitness and athleticism. There's this idea of a magical personality that exists in the self-initiation space. where you come up with things like a magical motto, or like you have ritual garb that you put on. And I feel something similar for when I do fitness stuff. When I go to the gym and I work on and I exercise and stuff, I sort of have uh, a personality I get as I sort of put on, somebody who considers themselves as a person who's into fitness. Um, and so having a ritual like that, just like the same magical personality I adopt when I do ritual, other conventionally, it's sort of an extension of that. It's sort of that sort of practice put into a different context. Boop. So the temple. So this is the location where you perform your exercise. It's often a gym or a park for me, but you can get creative. It can be a temporary location, like you can clear away an area in your living room, but I think personally it's better if it's set away from your normal life so that it becomes something you go to and you do. That's the only thing you do there, so that you don't get caught up in the other things in your life that are going on. So the TV's on or something like that, or you have your phone right there. And it's like, no, I'm going here to go exercise, and that's what I'm doing when I'm there. So that kind of sets you in that mindset of doing that. And the place you go to exercise, it has a life of its own for you to discover over time. A big part of exercise is consistency. You don't need to be perfect, but just keep up with it. And just be patient, and you will have results. But it takes time. And likewise, the place that you go to also has its own life, its own cycles, and you'll get to discover those as you engage in being there over time. And I also recommend spending time in a space without headphones. I know a lot of people like to work out with headphones. I definitely do. I'm always listening to podcasts when I'm at the gym or when I'm running. But spending some time without headphones, it allows you to immerse yourself more fully in that space and be more embodied in that space. So I really recommend trying that too, just to get a better sense of being in that area, in that location, without being, in your own little bubble. Which is, sometimes that's fine too. I think a balance is pretty good. But there are mysteries to be learned there, and, experiences to have. And you can't have them if you're not exposing yourself to them. Boop. And then ritual garb. So just like, in ritual work, conventional ritual work, you should also have ritual garb for doing your athletic rituals. But the thing is, with workout clothes, there's actually there are practical elements that should be taken into account. Based on what I see people wearing at the gym, apparently this is not common knowledge. So I guess this is my moment to sort of talk about this. Here's my little soapbox moment, because I'm kind of astounded what people think is appropriate to wear to the gym sometimes. But yes, so these are clothes to help you don your magical athletic personality. They should make you feel sporty and athletic and ready for activity. So if you see something, if you're shopping for clothes and you say, oh, I'm going to feel sporty wearing this, that's probably a good choice. So you should only wear them when you're engaging in exercise to set them apart as something special. So that way, when you are wearing them, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to do something fitness related. I'm going to do some physical activity, so I'm going to be wearing these clothes. So the clothes you should pick out, they should be fitted to the body. They should not be overly baggy and loose. Having these big baggy clothes, I know a lot. Like, I used to be very heavy, and I used to wear big baggy clothes to try to hide my voluptuous curves. But the end result is that you just end up looking even bigger. We're just gonna have to accept that. I just had to ultimately accept the fact that I was a bit rounder, and that was fine. But having big baggy clothes, it weighs you down. If you're trying to run with baggy clothes, like, the wind catches it and slows you down. At the gym, I've seen on multiple occasions people getting their clothes stuck in the machines because of the clothes they're wearing. So it doesn't have to be like super tight. You don't have to be wearing super tight spandex, but probably something that just fits closer to your body isn't going to get caught in anything. And also move towards light materials that wick away sweat and dry quickly. I like a lot of synthetic materials personally. They tend to dry very fast. And I'm a person who sweats a lot. So that's a big important thing for me. I don't overheat in them, and I don't get uncomfortably wet in them. I would stay away from cotton generally, unless it's a very light cotton. Heavier cotton just absorbs sweat. It'll take the sweat away from you, but it'll just stay in the cotton, and it'll harbor bacteria, and it'll start smelling, and it's not a good choice ultimately. So I would stay away from cotton in general, unless it's a very light cotton. And you can still find some good ones like that too. And then you can use the colors you choose. They can correspond with different elements or different planets. There's different color correspondences for these things. So I like to wear a lot of red for Mars personally. It makes me feel very powerful. So it's one of my favorite colors. And I'm known at the gym for being the guy who's always wearing red. So that is stuff you can consider with your ritual garb. Here's some stuff probably you shouldn't do. So to avoid injury, you should probably wear footwear appropriate to activity, and any other safety gear if you're doing anything more strenuous, like any kind of sports or something that requires safety gear. Footwear is really important. I got really bad knee problems because I was not wearing running shoes, and I was running a lot. And then once I got running shoes, oh my God, it was like night and day. I see sometimes guys going to the gym and lifting in sandals, and it's just like, don't do that. That's not a good idea. So just put on some good athletic sneakers, and take care of your feet. Supportive undergarments to reduce chafing to sensitive areas, and they prevent certain injuries like hernia, testicular torsion, long-term tissue damage. Something about seeing guys wearing boxer shorts at the gym really irks me. I'm just like, don't you realize you could really hurt yourself if you aren't supporting yourself? I imagine women with sports bras have the same issue, so please wear something that keeps you tucked away. Heavy fabrics like denim you should avoid because they trap in heat and they absorb sweat. They become unhygienic, as I was mentioned before. A lot of people like to wear sweatshirts and pants. They think that they'll sweat more and it'll help them lose weight. But the truth is, if you lose water weight, the moment you start drinking water, your body will replace that water. So it's not really effective. And you may be risking heat injury, overheating yourself by wearing sweatpants and sweatshirts. If it's cold weather, certainly go for it. Keep yourself warm. But if you're like at the gym and you're thinking that you're going to sweat out more if you put your sweatshirt on, I would recommend against that, actually. Just wear what you're going to normally wear and let your body sweat normally and naturally, and you'll get there. Just exercise. All right, so now we're going to talk about fitness components and the elements. So there are 5 fitness components, and I'm going to go over all of them. I've been learning about these in school, so this comes from the physical education side. And one of the things that really struck me was that they kind of corresponded to the elements pretty well. And I felt like, as a person who pursues fitness, I really like to keep my fitness components in balance, as I like to keep my elements in balance. Here's a quote from the Stobaean Hermetica 2613. Translated by M. David Litwa. There are other things as well that come from the equilibrium of her body's composition. It is the assembly and blend of the 4 elements. From this blend and assembly, a vapor is exuded. This vapor wraps itself around the soul and runs through the body. To both, I mean body and soul, it bestows its own quality. In this way arise the different variations that occur in souls and bodies. Fitness components, they act as ways to understand an element and gain awareness of one aspect of its manifestation. And you can also use them to build up the energies of an element. We were talking about invoking energies, so this is one of the ways that you can do this, by using the different fitness components. So let's go through these. All right, so the first one I'm going to talk about is muscular strength. The maximal force generated in a single contraction by a muscle or group of muscles. How strong are you is the question. Guys always love saying, "What's your PR?" And nobody really cares except for the guys asking, "What's your PR?" So it's it's how much you can do in like one big go. How strong you are, how much force you can do, and it corresponds to fire. It burns brightly and then it's extinguished. You develop muscular strength through resistance training, such as weightlifting. And while you're weightlifting, you're going to be doing heavier weight over fewer reps. Maybe you only do 3 before you're completely tired. That'll help you build up your muscular strength. Boop. And now we go to Earth, muscular endurance. This is sort of the opposite. It's the ability of a muscle or group of muscles to perform repeated contractions over time or sustain a contraction against resistance. So if you, let's say you start doing push-ups, how many push-ups can you do? How long can you sustain that? How long can you sustain doing bicep curls? So this corresponds to Earth. It's about how much you can sustain, how much you can endure. And you develop through resistance training or body weight exercises. You use lighter weight over more reps to endure like the element of Earth. Though when I am training muscular endurance, I will probably do like 15, 16 reps of a lighter weight. And it's deceptive because the first 10 or so are just very okay, this is very easy. But then suddenly it gets very hard. And getting those last few really is a challenge. And then we're going to go to cardiovascular endurance. This corresponds to the element of air. This is the ability of the heart, lungs, and circulatory system to provide adequate oxygen supply to the body to sustain physical activity over an extended period of time. One of the interesting things that I also thought about correspondence is that humorically, air corresponded to the sanguine humor, which was the blood. So I think that also fits pretty nicely. But you develop cardiovascular endurance through aerobic exercises such as running, swimming, or cycling. This is the classic cardio day. I didn't change this last thing over here. Ignore that. But you can. There's 2 basic ways that you work cardiovascular endurance. There is sustained activity, where you sort of maintain a steady pace over a long period of time, 20, 30 minutes, something like that. And then there's also interval training, where you do an all-out attempt at running, sprinting as fast as you can, biking as fast as you can, for a period of 30 seconds to a minute, 2 minutes, something like that, very short, and then you take a rest, let your body stabilize, and then you do that again. You do that cycle a few times, and that's interval training. Both of those are pretty good for cardiovascular endurance, and I recommend switching up between them if you can. Then there is flexibility, which corresponds to water. It's the ability of a joint or series of joints to move through an unrestricted, pain-free range of motion. It's about flow. It's about ease of movement. It's about relaxing and letting go. You develop flexibility through static and dynamic stretches. So static stretches are when you stretch and you hold a position for 15, 30 seconds, something like that. And then dynamic stretches are when you're moving your body through a range of motion, let's say you're swinging your leg back and forth to kind of get it ready for a run. So both of those are 2 different kinds of stretches, and they're both useful. So that is flexibility. It helps really prevent injury, and helps support you as you are engaging in other physical activities. And so the final fitness component is body composition, which I correspond to spirit. It is the distribution and proportion of the different tissues and components that make up the body. It's composed of lean mass, fat mass, and bone mass. I correspond this to spirit because it's sort of it really represents the body as sort of the vehicle for the other elements than the fitness components to work out on, to express themselves through. And to work on body composition, you regulate your calorie intake versus calorie output, and you monitor your macronutrient balance. Basically, every day we burn a certain number of calories, and we eat a certain number of calories. if the number of calories you eat is less than the number of calories you burn, you will lose weight. And if the number of calories you eat is more than the calories you burn, you will gain weight. And if it's the same, you will maintain weight. That's sort of the basic of body composition. The other part of it is macronutrient balance. What is the proportion of protein, carbohydrates, and fats that you consume? This is, there is a lot of leeway in this. Different people say different things. I don't have numbers off the top of my head, but I personally, the one I use is I try to eat 40 to 50% carbohydrates, 25 to 35% protein, and 25 to 35% fats. I track my calories on a fitness watch, and then I use the Fitbit app on my phone to track all my food. I weigh my food in grams whenever I can. It's a lot, but I'm a big nerd and it's a lot of fun. And I love looking at data. So it's been really helpful in helping me lose a lot of weight. I maintain about a 500 calorie deficit, every day. I do 5 out of 7 days of the week. So I give myself 2 days off to sort of not really care all that much. And I've lost about 70 pounds doing that. It's about a half a pound a week. Slow and steady, sustainable, and it's really helpful to look at macronutrients, because there are times when it's just like, I'm hungry, I have calories in my deficit, so I can eat something. It looks like I need fats and carbs. I get to go eat a little mini eclair or something. That'll do. So I love sweets. It is my weakness, especially little pastries. My favorite. So I always try to have space in my diet during the day to put those in, to eat those too. But I try to eat pretty healthy. I eat a salad every day. I eat lots of fruits and vegetables, lean meats. Try not to eat red meat, that sort of thing. Unsaturated fats. So that's body composition and spirit. So now, the fitness skills and the planets. Here's another Stobaean Hermetica. Nature adapts the temperament of the body to the conjunction of the stars, and unite the motley blend of the body to the temperament of the stars, with the result that they have a mutual influence on each other. The purpose of the temperament of the stars is to engender mutual influence in accord with the fate of bodies. So fitness skills are a way to engage the planetary energies as an application of the elements or fitness components. So this is what we do with those fitness components, we use them in these skills. And so there were 6 skills, and I was like, but there's 7 planets, the 7 classical planets, which are the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Not the outer planets. But I felt like the 6 felt pretty well. 6 of them went really well, and I said, the sun's us, isn't it? So we'll go over them. So speed is the first one we're going to talk about. I'm going to talk about these in the Chaldean order, the fastest to the slowest. So that puts the moon first, and we're going to give speed, which is the ability to move quickly over a certain distance. I assign this to the moon. It reflects the moon's movement through the sky as the fastest of the planet. You get better at speed through strength training in your legs, getting your legs stronger, at high intensity interval training, trying to go as fast as you can, in spurts. Essentially, will get you faster over time. So that's speed, Luna. Then we go on to Mercury, which is agility. This is the ability to change direction quickly and efficiently. This represents Mercury's movement in the sky as it switches between direct and retrograde motion. Mercury is always changing direction as it moves through the sky, so I felt it was very appropriate to apply it to agility. You develop agility through exercises that involve quick changes in direction, explosive power, and good coordination. So there's interesting ideas on the internet about that. So here we go on. We're going to go to coordination now, which is Venus. This is the ability to integrate different body parts or senses to perform movements smoothly and accurately. And this reflects Venus's association with bringing things together in harmony. I felt this was really appropriate. This one went really well too. Develop through exercises that use multiple parts of your body at once that require special attention to form and execution. When you think about the aesthetic of what you're doing, what it looks like, it's very Venusian, and it very much ties into this sense called proprioception. Anytime I can talk about proprioception, I'm very happy. Very often we're told that we only have five senses, traditional five senses, but we have other senses. And proprioception is one of them. It's the awareness of your body's position in space. If you were to hold your hand out, your arm out to your side, and you closed your eyes, and someone came and bent your arm, how would you know where your hand is now? You would use your sense of proprioception. And so it's a really important part of body awareness is developing this. So I wanted to throw that in here as well. So Mars corresponds to reaction time, the ability to react quickly to stimuli. It reflects Mars's association with sudden, swift movements and actions. In the tarot, the card the Tower is associated with Mars, where it's getting struck by a bolt of lightning. So I always say be the bolt of lightning. It is developed through reacting to quick, unpredictable movements. So table tennis or juggling are really good ways to develop reaction time. They require constant focus. But for the most part, it's something that you need someone else or some kind of unpredictable element to really work on, and it's really hard to do by yourself. There's only so much you can do. And I feel like that's a really interesting side of Mars, in the sense of it's not about individuality, it's about relying on others to help develop yourself. So another ripple of meaning and metaphor. Reaction time is also most affected by healthy lifestyle. If you don't get enough sleep, if you don't eat well, if you don't take care of yourself, your reaction time will be diminished, even if it is good when you do those things. So take care of yourself if you can. All right, and now power corresponds to Jupiter, the greater benefic. It is the ability to exert maximum force in a short amount of time, combining strength and speed. It reflects Jupiter's association with big, expansive energy. You develop power through explosive strength training, performing movements quickly and powerfully. I like to do box jumps. I jump up on a box, so that helps me do like explosive power in the legs. Or also push-ups with like a clap. You push yourself off and clap. That's also a good way to develop explosive power. It's fun. It's good. So that's Jupiter. And then we're going to go to the last of the fitness skills, balance, which corresponds to Saturn. Is the ability to maintain equilibrium and control body position. It reflects Saturn's association with slowness and finality, providing the necessary counterweight to the other planets. You develop balance through exercises that focus on stability and engage lower body and your core muscles. And so this is balance. This is Saturn. So I really like those six. And then we get to the expression of these skills. This is the soul. The self as it expresses and executes the fitness skills. It's how we shine in the world and use our capacities to help others grow and thrive. It's the light at the center of our solar system. It's reflective of the light of the soul at the center of our own internal solar system. The idea of the macrocosm, microcosm means that we all have our own little solar systems inside of us, our own little planets, our own little expressions of those. And so using these fitness skills in this way helps us access those and come to understand them better. So we're going to put it all together. So I use theurgic methods alongside physical training that develop the fitness components and skills. So, for instance, I'd say a daily prayer to Mars to keep me focused on my training and what my goals are. That's something I've done unwaveringly for over a year now. I have not missed a day, and it's a really fundamental part of my spiritual practice. It doesn't take very long, but it really helps keep me on track. You might do something like you could channel the energies of Jupiter by wearing blue on a Thursday while training power. You're kind of trying to access that thing specifically. So you're like, I want to train this. I want to access this energy. I want this. This is the invocation of energies, and these are sort of ways you could do it. Thursday being the day ruled by Jupiter, and you could even get into planetary hours with it if you wanted. Or you could do what I was doing before I came on here. You could come to understand an aspect of the element of air through cardiovascular endurance training over time. I was running at the park before I came online here. A lot of times, for instance, I have this sort of idea like in a lot of the self-initiating curricula, they're sort of like a passing through elements as you go through grades and you kind of move through it. And one could easily just start applying these different fitness components to the different grades and be like, okay, now you're going to work on cardiovascular because you're on the air grade, or you're going to work on flexibility because you're in the water grade. And so because these things help you understand these elements and the different ways that they manifest in the world. When we talk about air, we don't just necessarily mean what material science means about air. It also talks about communication and intellect and connection and community and all those things, but also how does it manifest physically? And so that is where the cardiovascular endurance comes into play. So all these things reflect each other, and they have things to teach us about ourselves and about the world. Use these as inspirations for ways to gain experience of knowledge that exists beyond words. It's only attainable by doing it yourself. No one can do it for you. You can only point the way. But there's an old adage that says, "Don't confuse the moon with the finger that points at it." So, yeah, you have to do the work yourself to really learn. So, in conclusion, mysticism of the body is a form of devotional spiritual practice in which we engage with the physical body as a vehicle for learning greater truths about the divine. The structure of the cosmos is reflected in the human being, and by engaging with aspects of fitness on the level of metaphor and analogy, we come to understand how the energy of the planets and elements move and manifest. This greater understanding and knowledge only comes as a result of direct experience. Words only point the way. I think there's a slide missing, but the last thing I wanted to say was... no, it's all right. The last thing I guess I will say is that this work that I do, that I hope other people do, it's really important to me that it has some kind of application in the world, that it does help other people, that helps bring some more light into the world. And I think any endeavor that we engage in, we should try to see how it can benefit. And I feel the same thing about fitness as well. A lot of people look at, the gym rat and they think, oh, he's obsessed with himself, he's very vain. And it may be you pursue these things, but it should be more than just trying to get likes on Instagram or that sort of thing. You're trying to be an influencer. You should try to... it's something I've noticed that a lot of people look up to me now at the gym, and I try to take all those eyes that are looking at me and try to set up a good example and be a good role model, and I encourage everyone else to do the same. With that said, I think I am done. That's it. Thank you all for listening. I was honored to be here. This was a great experience. This is very much oh my goodness, let me wrap up all this stuff that I've been doing and actually talk to somebody about it. So I guess now we can take some questions for real.
Yeah, that's cool. Thanks so much. And I apologize for the technical error there with the slides. Do you have the last slide in front of you? If not, I could read it out loud if you'd like to. I have it right here on the other screen. Ziggy, maybe you muted your mic? Are you there? I think maybe
Yes, sorry.
Okay.
I clicked away and then things went away. Yes.
Oh, no,
yes, my last slide was just my contact info. That was it. Yeah, so if you want to follow my website, it's fraterzigmund.com, and I'm on YouTube at Frater Zigmund. Hopefully, there'll be some content this summer. There's always the dichotomy: I can practice or I can talk about practice. It's hard to do both. So,
Yeah, you could also skip back to
so
the early slide where it does list your URLs for anybody
yeah,
who'd like to take a screenshot. There's a back button as well. Yeah, there we go. Ah, there it was. There we go.
that's me.
Yeah. Also, should point out there are some really, really nice resources for Golden Dawn practitioners on Frater Zigmund's website as well. You did make some of the most beautiful, visual aids and stuff like that I've ever seen for Golden Dawn stuff.
Oh, thank you.
It's kind
It
of
feels
too
like
bad
another
that
life
you,
at this point.
yeah, I imagine it's kind of too bad in that sense, that you're no longer too interested with it. But hey, those that you did make, they're amazing. So I hope people will enjoy those too. And yeah, I did want to suggest that we take a very short break. Let's say 3 minutes, folks, just to take a quick bathroom visit or get a quick cup of water. Then we'll get back for the Q&A. So I am taking a close look at my watch. Let's get back here in 3 minutes, folks. See you.
All right, sounds good.
All right. All right, folks, that's 3 minutes. Hope.
Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I have a question for Ziggy, but it's something private.
Yeah, in that case, you can contact him on Discord would be probably easiest. Are you on the VR Mystery School Discord server?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, cool. So I believe already in the announcement channel there should be the announcement for today's event with his name tagged. I'll double check after though, so if it's not there yet, then I'll make sure to post his name there so you can find him easy.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. Yeah, we're streaming on YouTube still, so if it's personal, definitely Discord is probably the better option.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, great. I'll get us started with the first one if you don't mind, Wolf. I'm sorry. Yeah, for anybody else, if you think of something, feel free to come up here. Yeah. I should also say, yeah, thank you so much, Ziggy, for the presentation. It was really interesting, and I actually hadn't realized the extent to which you, were developing your own system based on these fitness-related insights. It's really quite impressive, and the elemental correspondences to the elements of physical fitness. That was sublime stuff. I really, kind of blew my top off there. Yeah, very cool stuff. And I hope more people will look into it. Even for those who aren't willing to go all the way and become a physical theurgist. There's so much in there, so much inspiration, so many great ideas, and so many, applications of the philosophy to this kind of activity that really helps to deepen the understanding as well. So yeah, I think it's super interesting, and I hope many more people will enjoy your content revolving around this over the years. With that,
Oh, thank you. That's really amazing. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yes, my pleasure. Let me flip up my notes real quick. I had some questions written down. 1 second. Yeah, first one, you actually touched on it just earlier. To somebody who says, yeah, a cool story, bro, but, in the end, fitness, it's for the vain, something you already mentioned. But, I, for me personally, and for a bunch of people I've known, this is something that does come up. It's a question some people might ask themselves, or an idea they might be struggling with, keeping them away from engaging with this stuff. What would you say to them to maybe change their mind?
Well, one can certainly pursue fitness for vain reasons, but we all have a body that we need to take care of, and the biggest indicator of somebody's health is how physically active they are, actually. One thing that we learned in school this year was that somebody who is sedentary but a non-smoker is probably less healthy than a pack-a-day smoker who exercises regularly. Physical activity is really, really important for everyone. It does not matter what your body looks like. It does not matter how capable you are. You should be moving your body. You should be using it. And, it really helps treat and prevent a lot of different diseases, all kinds of different stuff: diabetes, mood disorders, arthritis. Helps you maintain your weight, and so it has a whole lot of different benefits. If you could be prescribed one pill that would handle all of these things, you'd probably take it, and that pill is actually exercise. So I recommend it to everybody to some capacity, as best as you can. Obviously, in our society is not very well structured for people to be taking care of themselves a lot of the times. We have to work a lot, and we have to take care of a lot of things, and there just isn't a lot of time for things like fitness. So I totally can appreciate that and understand that. But that is less about vanity and more about, finding the place to do the things that we need to do to take care of ourselves. And it is unfortunate that a lot of people don't have the time, and it is often a privilege to be able to do so. So I do want to acknowledge that for sure.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'll save my other questions for later. 1 second. Just need to change your volume on my side, Wolf. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I hope it's not too quiet or loud.
No, it's fine. If you just get up to the mic, it will be amplified.
How's this?
That's perfect.
Great.
Okay, so I have 2 questions. My first question was, as you show your devotion to Mars through fitness, does Mars give you anything in return for it, or does it do anything in response to it? And in your experience, what do you notice in your daily life?
Well, it's happening right now. I mean, this talk is something that Mars has given me, an opportunity that has been provided as a result of my work. My ability to go back to school, to provide to my community, to help others. These are all things that Mars presents to me as opportunities to show my devotion, to test myself, to prove to myself that I'm capable of more than I ever thought possible. There are definite benefits to fitness. I'm stronger, I'm faster, I'm fitter than I've ever been. I'm in great physical condition. These are all great gifts that I've been given as a result of pursuing my dedication. My daily life, it's maybe a little difficult to say because it's been like this for a little while now. But it's I don't know if it's just something about me. I mean, I have a Leo ascendant in my natal chart, but I stand out quite a lot. People notice me all the time. I guess it's probably because I'm wearing red and I'm also like just a big-shouldered guy. But I don't know. It's just the energy radiates from me, and people notice it, and people sort of resonate with it in their own ways, even if mostly subconsciously. But it's something that I use to try to reach people for where they are at, and try to spread the light, I guess you could say. I don't know if that answers your question, but that's sort of the best I could.
Yeah, I don't even know what I was expecting as an answer. So, that's really nice. I had one other question. My proprioception is really bad. How would you go about improving that?
I did not even consider that, and that's a really interesting question. But that is something that I'm actually going to have to look more into. I'm sorry I don't have an answer for you.
All right.
But but thank you for asking it because it definitely expanded my awareness.
Yeah, I was like, oh, maybe I should ask Venus or.
No. I mean, that could be one way to do it. That's sort of one way to work at it. But for developing any of these things, it's really you have to be doing the work in the physical world. I mean, the prayer, ritual, that stuff that can help, that can assist, that can help you keep you focused on your goals. But it in itself is not going to do the thing.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks for your questions, Wolf. If any more come up, feel free to get back here. I also have some more questions.
Yeah, thank you for your questions. They were great.
Yeah, great stuff. Thank you very much, Wolf. And thanks for your great answers. Do you have any more thoughts about, supplementing fitness with things like music, podcasts? Hey, some people, they do reading. Versus like the mindfulness approach, meaning no distractions, just trying to, dissolve in the exercise, reach a flow state or something like that. Do you favor any one of them? Any other thoughts? Just curious to hear more about that.
I like both. I think both have a place. There are definitely times when I want to catch up on my podcast. I want to, check in with my content creators, see what they have to say. I'm a big fan of RuPaul's Drag Race, and there's always content about that out. So that's my guilty pleasure. But it'll be really funny because my gym playlist will be like, oh, here's a channel, here's a video from Esoterica about Kant, and then here's another video from Angela's Symposium about Hermeticism, and now I'm going to listen to what happened this week on RuPaul's Drag Race. So I think having a balance of things really helps. And then there's just other times it's like, no, I want to be really focused on what I'm doing, what my presence in this place, what I'm, the movements of my body. And so I think a balance is helpful. All one way or all another way, you kind of burn yourself out. And that's a really important part of, I think, self-initiation practices, is not burning yourself out. It's really easy to just tack on practice after practice after practice, and the next thing you know, you're spending 2 hours every day trying to get through all your ritual stuff and all your meditations and everything. So it's just like little bits go a long way, just consistency, sticking with it. But yeah, one way or another, I think a balance, a mix is good.
Yeah, very good. Thank you very much. Let's see. I don't see any other people here. Also, no questions on the YouTube stream. Yeah, I got one more for you, or two more actually. Kind of like my first question. What do you say to people who think fitness is like outdated, no longer relevant? We don't need to be strong anymore. We've got technology. We've got conveniences of the modern world. This was also, for me personally, kind of a hindrance, something to get over. Have any thoughts on what you'd answer to somebody who would say this?
So, fitness is about maintaining the body. It's about taking care of the vehicle from which you move through the world. I heard somebody on one of my podcasts saying, like, their friends don't do cardio because they're skinny already. And I said to myself, that's not why you do cardio. You don't do cardio to get skinny. You do cardio to exercise your heart and lungs. Everybody needs to do that. Everybody has a heart and lungs, well, for the most part. But everybody's got to take care of these things. Everybody's got to work them. You don't get, just because you have your phone does something for you doesn't mean you get away from doing that. If you don't work your muscles, if you don't keep them up, one day they will not work for you very well, and you may suffer an injury. You might have a fall. You might twist your ankle or something just because your muscles are not strong enough. You have to be able to take care of yourself, and fitness helps you do that. You have to use it or lose it. It's one of the principles. One of these principles of fitness is you have to use it. We strain ourselves a little bit to push ourselves to greater heights. And that's sort of a very Martian principle of fitness. One of the things about weightlifting is when you're lifting weights, you're actually destroying muscle fibers. And then part of the training is that with proper nutrition, adequate protein, you rebuild those fibers stronger. So then every time you go to lift, you're actually, destroying parts of your body a little bit. That's sort of very Martian in a way. It's sort of one of the ways I sort of access Mars through that cycle. So yeah, this is things that everybody needs. Everybody has to do. And if you don't do, it will catch up with you. And the longer you wait to start, the harder it gets. How much technology you have doesn't matter, because you still have a body that you still need to inhabit. And hopefully you will be here as long as possible.
Yeah, thank you very much. At the end of the day, got all these magical injections and stuff. Well, turns out some of them have a payoff sooner or later. I think there's some magical weight loss drugs coming out now. And yeah, end of the day, I also think if you take a more basic approach, just move and use the system the way intended, well, you'll surprise yourself. That's really interesting. Maybe last question, kind of in the same vein, for people who might be struggling with this in particular, how do my body and I get on the same team? How do we become friends and helping each other out rather than struggling against each other? You got any thoughts on this?
So we have to find what it is that we have to find a baseline for what we're comfortable with, what we're capable of. Like if we say I want to get into fitness and I'm going to go run 5 miles tomorrow, like that's not really feasible. I started off just by taking a walk most days, not even every day, but then just extending my walks a little bit. Eventually one day I was like, I want to try doing a little jogging, just a little, a couple minutes of jogging, just one little bit after another. And so, small changes, what you feel comfortable with to start. And then once you start figuring out what you were comfortable with, then you can start figuring out what would make you a little uncomfortable. Just a little bit. See how you do. Push yourself just a tiny little bit. The consequences are probably not going to be too bad. So you can take that little step outside your comfort zone. It'll be okay. You try that. You see what you can do. And you may and just keep your expectations low. And you will be surprised at what you will ultimately be capable of. It's just little steps, little things, and little sustainable changes lead up to big changes in the long term. If you try to make big changes overnight, you're much more likely to fail. And a little bit is better than nothing, honestly. A little bit goes a long way, especially if you're not doing anything to take care of your health. Or you're not doing anything to do towards fitness. If you're not participating in fitness at all, even if you just start a little bit, you'll notice just some consistency. It will make a difference, and then you'll start to see, oh, I can do a little bit more. Oh, maybe I'll try this other thing. Oh, I've tried a bunch of stuff that made me a little uncomfortable, but it turned out fine. Well, maybe this other thing that makes me really uncomfortable, maybe that won't be so bad. Maybe I can try that. And then you kind of keep pushing yourself. And that's sort of how my journey has been. It's just going from a place of like not really being comfortable with this to just being like learning how to embrace it and how to keep pushing it and, get to find out what it is actually I can do. So that's what I would suggest. If you feel like you and your body are at odds, start to work on that relationship. Start to see, okay, where is the body right now? Like, what is it that we can do? Where do we get along? And let's see where we can take this relationship. Take it slow. It's not a race.
Yeah, thank you very much again. Great answers. It seems like we are out of questions. I do have a last one, but I don't want to put you on the spot, so feel free to say no. But I was wondering if you perhaps have like a hymn, a prayer, or anything of the sort. If I remember correctly, you're quite into those, and you have some very beautiful examples. So if there is one that you'd like to share, no matter how brief, feel free. If not, maybe people can look something up on your YouTube at some point. It's up to you, Ziggy.
So I don't really write my own. Let me find.
It doesn't have to be your own. It could be a quote or something that has inspired you along the way. You already shared some real nice, interesting quotes, of course. But just wanted to give you the chance. I'm pretty sure some people here would really appreciate it too.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a good one from the Book of the Living. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, take your time.
Here we go. Here's one. No, actually, no. I know. All right, here we go. This is from the Book of the Living. This is number 46. Do not worship God. Inexorable God neither needs nor wants your worship. Instead, acknowledge and attend God. Learn from God. With forethought and intelligence, imagination and industry, shape God. When you must, yield to God. Adapt and endure, for you are earth's seed, and God is change. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I had a really good time. I hope you gained something out of it. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Thanks again, Ziggy. It was amazing. Yeah, let's give a round of applause or emojis, whatever works for you guys. And yeah, I hope you will join us again in the future. Keep appreciated. Yeah, thanks again, Ziggy. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we end things? Maybe one more look at your anything else?
No, I'm good. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you too, and thanks. Keep an eye on the calendar for more future events. If you're not yet in the Discord, there's links everywhere. Also check out the website vrmysteryschool for links and stuff. Yeah, we now have the chance for a short hangout for anybody that would like to stay. Ziggy. But if you want to, feel free to join us for a couple.
I can hang out for a little bit.
Yeah. I'll change the music and see you there in a moment. The lounge. See you next time. Thanks for watching. All right, that's a wrap. Cool.